Hi, my name is Yvonne Day, and this is my story of being an FHTM. Back in 2007-2008, I was friends with a beautiful young lady by the name of Jenny Childress, who was a 24-year-old newlywed and college grad, who she and her new husband had started this little program, and within a year she had called me and talked to me several times about being a part of this. And about a year into it, she came in to my store. I had a gift shop in a historic area in Texas, and she said, "You really need to take a look at this." And I said, "You know what? No BS, no nothing. How much did you make last month?" And she showed me her check. She had made $7,500 that month, and I nearly fell out of my chair. That is the kind of money that people do not make at 24 years old, especially in a small town. So I did listen to her. I did take the paperwork, and I went home to do my homework. I went on YouTube and I watched every video that was on there. I watched Paul Orbison. I watched his family. I watched Kevin Mullins, Joel McNinch, Tom Wagner, Darla Del Grande, all these people. There were Spanish people on there, couldn't understand a thing they said, but I knew they were very excited. There was a lot of excitement about this company. So the next day, I ended up calling everything from the Better Business Bureau to the Attorney General's office to see if there had been anything turned in about them. Because if I put my stamp on something, I want to make damn sure that I have done my due diligence. And so far, everything checked out. So I went to a couple meetings and I learned a little bit more about it. And I thought, if I'm just trading stuff that I do every day, whether TV or Travelocity, doing whatever, and other people do it, then this is pretty easy. It was actually a whole lot easier to do than what I was doing for a living. So I went ahead and signed up and talked to a few people. Now, myself, I owned a business. I was part of the chamber. I was on the board of the Rotary. I worked with the school foundation board, hospice, Habitat for Humanity. I mean, I had an excellent reputation in town, and I knew everybody. So I was a huge catch when it came to who knows who. So I wanted to make sure that I did everything right. I don't put just half my time into something. I do it, and I do it whole hog, and I do it great. So after about 6 weeks, I hit the next level, which is regional director. I was excited. You know, you get excited with all these things, and you got a new title, you know, so that's cool. Get the little certificate. And started signing some more people up. And they started bringing people, and they started bringing people. And the more people I introduced to Kyle and Jenny, the more they saw, man, these are young people. This is the kind of money they're making. I want in on this too. If you're doing it, I'm doing it. So as this thing started growing, I could see in my back office what was happening. And there was a lot of money that I was going to be getting paid soon. So when I signed up, I bought Travelocity because we lived in a heavy tourism town, and I thought, well, I can get a lot of my clients, who there were thousands of them I had an email base to. They could rent cars, get hotel rooms, and I was going to be making extra income there. And I've also bought some hair care stuff for myself. So I am busy. I am rocking this thing. I'm staying out late at night, and my husband is like, seriously, what are you doing? And I showed him my back office and how much money I was going to be making that next month. And I said, my dream is I want a home. I want to build the home of my dreams and get ready to retire. And he just shook his head. He said, something's just not right here. And I said, well, I'm going to show you, because this is really exciting. So I became a trainer, and I'm training people at night. And I mean, I'm not getting in till 10, 11 o'clock at night. It's incredible. So when I started seeing the kind of money I was going to be making, I decided to sell my business. If I'm going to do this, and it showed that I was going to be making like $20,000 that first month that I was regional director, and I had just done it half-time, what was I going to be able to accomplish with this? So I found some buyers for the store, and they paid literally pennies on the dollar, if that, because I knew if I tried to negotiate a bigger deal, it was going to take me that much longer when I could make 3 times as much working with Fortune High Tech Marketing. So that's how I justified it. And boy, was I wrong. Man, I'd screwed myself so badly. When my first check was supposed to be coming around with regional director pay, it was about $20,000. I went to the bank, showed them my back office, and I said, look, I'm ready to build my house. So they got all the documents together ready for me to start building, and we were going to sign the note that following Monday. Of course, as luck would have it, a big storm hits the East Coast and the state of Kentucky is out of power. So they did send word to everybody that the checks were going to be in direct deposit, but it was going to be later because they just didn't have the way to run them. I understood that. We all knew. So I told the bank. It was understandable. Everybody was suffering a little bit. But the following week, I didn't get paid either. And again, I called the company. I told my sponsors something was terribly wrong here. So they just said, don't get unmotivated. You're doing really well. This is going to be fixed. Don't worry about it. So I continue. And I send information to home office saying, please look into this. Something's not right here. And I'm training. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. But meanwhile, I'm not making anything. So 4 weeks later, when my next pay was supposed to come due, and again, I was supposed to have another $20,000 month. So now I'm looking at over $40,000 in pay that I've got owed to me. Happens during something called Spring Fling, which there were a lot of big names. It was a mini convention in San Antonio. I got to meet Paul Orbison, Tom Mills, Billy Stiles, Joel McNinch, the Aguilars, Darla Grande, so many people. And I thought the world of them. I mean, they were very charismatic. Paul Orbison, hugely charismatic. Nice looking man, was a coach, highest paid man in network marketing, not taking a penny from the company, giving it back to the reps. He just wanted to be able to show people how there's a different life. I ate this up, just like everybody else did. I mean, this guy could lead you to water. I mean, he really could. And I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And I was featured on the phone calls. I was being introduced as the fastest growing regional director in the company. Life was good. And I knew that next day that I was supposed to be getting the direct deposit, and I was so excited. I cannot begin to tell you how excited I was. So I got home the next morning, and I get on my bank account, and I got a deposit for $17.96. And I just cried. And I called my sponsors, and they had not left yet for the meeting. And I told them what had happened, and I said, something is terribly wrong here. And they said, look, we're going to get this fixed. You know, don't lose your momentum. Go ahead, come on out. And I did. I went ahead and got dressed and I came on out. But that whole entire day, I could not look at anybody the same way because no one else had a problem with their paycheck except me. So this was not about the blackout. This was about something that was happening in my account. And there were people there from the home office, and I explained to them what was happening, and they said they would look into it. So I felt better. That next week, I had several different correspondents from them, and one of them said, you're not going to get paid for these people in training because they've already been trained. And I'm like, they're my people. How in the world could that happen? I trained them that night that they signed up. Something's got to be wrong. And found out that Kyle and Jenny had put their name on the training and faxed it in before I had a chance to fax it in. And it's wrong. It was illegal, it was immoral, it was stealing. That's all there was to it. So I let them know that this was not correct, and that if they didn't make this right, that I was going to let the company know. I was really pissed off. So a few days later, they came to me with some documents to sign for people that needed to be trained. And it had their name, had their rep ID, everything else on it. And Tom and Diana Wagner were in on this. And said, just sign these. This will get you the money to pay you back from what Kyle and Jenny, you say Kyle and Jenny took from you, and we'll make this all right. I'm like, you want me to forge somebody's signature on there who has not been trained and tell the company that I trained them. So you want me to do something just as illegal as you did? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, hell no. I am not doing this. Doing two wrongs does not make a right. I'm not bringing myself down to this level. You guys need to make this right. I'm not signing my signature on these, and now I have proof. So I let the company know the following day what was going on. And they said, well, thank you for letting us know. We're going to get right on this. I didn't hear jack. I'm still not getting paid. I'm still sending correspondence in, and something is not right. So one day I called in, and it was a new young man. And in talking to him, I had to go through the whole entire spiel again. And he said, well, I can see exactly what's wrong here. And he pulls up this document, and sure enough, it had been signed by Kyle and Jenny that they had sponsored this person. And I said, no. I sponsored that person, and this is what had happened. It was a domino effect. And because they said that they'd sponsored that person, they got all the pay that I was supposed to be getting. So here all this time, I'm crying to them that something's not right, and they knew damn good and well that they got my paycheck. And I was floored. I was absolutely heartbroken. This was the couple that I thought of as my own kids. And they were screwing me blind. And I called them like, what the hell is going on? And they're like, well, this just kind of happened, and we didn't know this was going to happen, and now we've got this money, and it feels so good, and we don't want to give it up, and you're so good at what you do. Can't you just go forward? And I'm like, no, you need to make this right. I want my team back the way it was now. So the company put my team back, but I never got the money. The Childresses would never give the company the money back to reimburse to me, and neither would the Wagners. They all declined and said, no, I just need to lick my wounds and get over it. And I'm like, y'all have pissed on the wrong person, because when you mess with somebody's income like that and livelihood, you are wrong. So I kept trying to plug into the company and say, look, these people did this wrong. I'm letting you know the truth. It is your responsibility to make this right, because to me, this is corporate theft, and they needed to take care of this. So while I'm still trying to work with them, I'm telling my team, I need your help. Can you please come with me to go talk to Paul Orbison? He's going to be here in a couple weeks, so we can meet with him. We can get this all straight. I would think that he would want to make this right, because he's this good Christian man who owns this company, so why wouldn't you? We're all ready to go. And I get a phone call telling me that he is not going to meet with us, has no intentions of meeting with us, and that I just need to get over this. And I said, I'm not the person that you can just run over. You're going to have to make this right. So I did attend the meeting in Austin. I did go and see Paul Orbison. And I thought it was rather ironic. They've got Fortune magazines out there. They're telling everybody that they're associated with Fortune Inc. They are also have these high-priced names, celebrities like Jerry Rice and beauty queens and race car drivers and all these different celebrities who have now signed up to Fortune, because people all over the country are making money, including the CEO of Bank of America's wife and a TV personality and such. I mean, they're touting all this, and I'm like, this is not right. You just can't go throwing these names around and doing these pictures, because I couldn't find anything anywhere saying these people had joined. And they've got these Spanish people up there speaking in Spanish that they were dishwashers and that this company is paying this kind of money, and they're now driving a Lexus, and hell, they don't even have a license to be here in the States, but they have the ability to make all this money. And I'm sick. And I tell Paul Orbison, I said, you owe me. And he said, I'm not going to do it. And I said, yeah, you will. And sure enough, he never did do it. But I have fought this entire time to make sure that he did not hurt anybody else like he hurt me. Because I wasn't the only one. I went back to my team and I said, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I have not made this money. I have not made anything. And they were upset, but still the team down below, because I couldn't get to everybody. There was no way I could network to tell all these other people what had happened to me. And the company, honestly, was making my life hell. I mean, I had people sitting outside my house because I'd sold my business and now had stopped doing Fortune. I had no money coming in, so I needed to go get a job. And at every turn, everybody, it's a small town, they knew where I was, and they said that the home office of Fortune High Tech Marketing called and said I was going to cause them problems. So I had a bullseye on my back. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, it cost me my business. It cost me my reputation. It cost me financially. It has cost my health. It has cost me so much that I will never, ever be able to get back. And I did not want this to happen to anybody else. Meanwhile, I told the company in some very ugly words to go to hell, and put a letter saying cease taking any more money for any product out of my account. Well, I'm still getting money taken out of my account for Travelocity, and I can't get them to stop. So I decided to call Travelocity myself and get this to stop. So I pull it up their website, and it says, get your free website. It's the same website that I had. And it says, you can make an income free. All you got to do is it's a free sign up, and they will, anything that comes in from your website, they give you a different percentage on different things, such as rental cars and whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm paying $49.95 along with many hundreds of thousands of people in Fortune High Tech Marketing for this website that Fortune's getting for free? That's fraud. I mean, they are selling something that they don't own. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this is going on. So I called Travelocity, and they're like, ma'am, I'm sorry, but there's no way anybody could be selling something they don't own. I'm like, damn it, I'm telling you, this is what's happening. And I sent them the information, and they were floored. And I have no doubt that their attorneys sent a very ugly letter to Fortune High Tech Marketing, and later on they did drop them. But in the meantime, Montana and North Dakota both did a cease and desist on them for various reasons. One's for being a legal pyramid, and the other one was for not having a license. But then they said, they were an illegal pyramid too, which they settled with both of those states. Now, paying a state off does not mean that you're now legal. It means that you had to change your ways in those states, and they did to make themselves more legitimate. At which time they also brought in some attorneys that were former attorney generals in different states. And of course they've got them on video. You can still see the videos here on YouTube talking about, here's their legal team. And they're like, oh yes, we've looked into Fortune and it's legal. Well, apparently not, because the Federal Trade Commission came in and shut their ass down. So you legal eagles apparently are not as intelligent as you think you are, or basically, as I would like to think, you're just nothing but paid whores. Because anybody who makes money off an illegal scheme is not supposed to be able to keep that money, but for some reason, because you call it legal fees for put your name on there, you've gotten a chance to keep it. Well, that's not right. All that money should have to go back to the receiver for you to have to pay. If I could not get my pay, you shouldn't be able to get your pay, and that's all there is to it. I ended up with several other people filing a class action. We got 2 attorneys by the name of Kenyon Myers and Stephen Mattingly with Dinsmore and Scholl there in Kentucky. And they have been absolutely fabulous. This has been a very long, hard road to do. But it has been worth it, because while my reputation has gone downhill and my health and my financial well-being has, I have saved so many people from losing that and more because of getting Fortune shut down. It is not right to allow a company to continue to hurt people. Now, you may think, oh, hell, it was just $300. Well, it wasn't just $300. There was training, there was products, there were other things. It adds up to a couple thousand before you know it. And I got news for you. There was a lot of people who were doing this because they didn't have a job and they were losing their homes. And this was their way to try to get back to where they were making money. So to take advantage of somebody like that was terribly wrong. And everybody in this company, from the people there at home office to the national sales managers, the executive people, the presidential ambassadors, every single one of them knew damn good and well that this was illegal, because it states very clearly, when you know your paycheck is 95% being paid for trainings or being paid for recruitment and only like 5% is getting paid for product, you know that this is wrong. But because you were making the money, you turned a blind eye. You chose to just keep it on the down low so that you could keep perpetuating this until Paul could make it more legal to where you could keep it open. And that's not right, folks. That's not right. When you have people like Kevin Mullins and Jerry Brown, who are pastors, standing up there with crosses on their belts and Bibles in their hands and saying how, God brought them and God wants you to do this, and they know that this is legal, they're lying out their butts. And to me, that is just the most sacrilegious, sad thing I have ever seen. And now that the receiver wants these people to bring the money back, they're like, oh, we don't have any money. Well, I'm sorry, where the hell did your money go? Did you spend it all? Did you spend it all on all the frivolous things? What about the people who lost this money? Do you not have any empathy at all for those people? Apparently you don't. And all of you have gone on to other companies and are making good money over there, and yet you still sit there and say you don't have any money? Yeah, let's just make this damn good and clear. You guys are scam artists. It is wrong what you have done. And the only way, if you say you're going to heaven, you need to go with a clear conscience, and you need to make this stuff right, folks, because it is not right. Every single one of you who have brought people in and have encouraged them to do this is wrong, and you need to do something about it. Since then, whenever the Federal Trade Commission went in, Paul told so many people that he was going to get the company, go to court, get it back, because, they were legal. And Federal Trade Commission said, no, you're not. And they shut their doors. So Paul decided to take everybody over to Zija. Now, the Federal Trade Commission said that wasn't right. You're not supposed to make money off of ill-gotten gains from connections or anything else. But that didn't stop any of the national sales managers or presidential ambassadors or anybody else from being able to show checks of $250,000 and $100,000 here. So they're making money off all the stuff, that the connections that they made in Fortune High Tech Marketing, which to me is sad. because, again, they are screwing more people and not giving the money back that they made with Fortune. And they're telling, again, the Federal Trade Commission, we don't have the money to pay. That's not right. And so all these people who I have mentioned, if you ever see them in public, I want you to know that you better watch out. You just better watch out. It is not about you at all. They are not looking out for your best interest in the least. It is all about them, period. And if they try to tell you otherwise, you need to run like hell. Now, I'm not saying they're not good people. I thought the world of Kyle and Jenny Childress. They were just like kids of my own. But they drank the Kool-Aid, and they were feeding it to everybody else. And anybody who defied them in their belief was totally wrong. How in the world can you go to church and then knowingly screw people like this? Falsify documents, take people's money. It is theft in the highest level. It really and truly is. One of the other people that got so terribly hurt in this has become a dear friend of mine. His name is Joe Isaacs. He is from Florida. And while we didn't know each other during all this stuff going on, Fortune accused him of doing something, and because he was going to go tell the truth, before I started telling I was going to tell the truth, I mean, they sicked the dogs on that poor guy. And they sued him, and they lost. And the money was supposed to come to him before the Federal Trade Commission ended up coming into play, and he's got nothing. He's lost so much money, has paid out so much money to attorneys. It has cost him his health. He's had 2 heart attacks, and I feel for this man. So this company has hurt so many different people that I hope all the people that caused all this rot in hell. I really and truly do. And I have no problem saying that, because none of them have had to go to jail. And I don't see how this is possible. I really don't, because the people in Zeke Rewards, Bernie Madoff, any of these other people who have done anything like this have gone to jail, and they should have. So I guess kudos to their legal team for getting them to where they didn't have to go to jail. Yeah, Paul Orbison ended up dying with stomach cancer. Well, you know what? Lies ate his gut up is exactly what happened. But he died before all this got settled, so he left everybody else holding the bag. Way to go. This is exactly the legacy that you want to lead. And all these people out there, he thinks he's such a good Christian, and he was just a misunderstood towards the end. I'm sorry. How in the hell do you and Tom make $80 million, and then when the Federal Trade Commission shows up, they can't even find but $1 million of it? Really? People, think. It is a real shame what I've had to go through and what others have had to go through for the benefit of these others so that they can still do very well in life. And it is a shame. So I want you to understand, network marketing is not bad. If they are members of the DSA, that means that they've been scrutinized and taken a look at, and they have met all the legal requirements for being a good business. Fortune High Tech Marketing was not a member. They had applied to be a member, and they said they were doing these things, but it was all a lie. Fortune kept saying everybody signed an arbitration agreement. They did not. They didn't even have one available for anybody to see. We've got proof of all that. I've got so much proof. I've done so much investigating. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the things that people have done and said in order to get you signed up, it's sad. It's beyond sad to see people that are so hungry to cheat people that this is how they would act. So while my story may be a little bit different than yours, I'm the one who's the lead person in the class action lawsuit. And I wanted you to know the real truth that's out there, because anybody else who tells you anything differently is lying. We've got a good legal team that's looking into this. I hope one day to get as many people their money back as humanly possible. But by the time the receiver digs and looks and tries to find the money that Paul and Tom have hid, there may not be any. And it is sad. It's a lesson that we've all had to learn the really hard way. And for those people who made money off of it and didn't have to return it, I hope you get yours in the end. I really do. Because for all these people who've lost their homes, lost their cars, lost things, because that money, while it may not be a lot to you, it's everything to somebody else. People didn't get to have a Christmas. They did without medicine. Whatever the case is, I hope this weighs heavy on your heart. And I hope anybody who's listening to this who sees these people in any other company. There's some that are in Eric's, Zija. There's another one, another thing, Darla Del Grande and Molly and Scott Aguilar are in. While those companies may be good, I would question being with those people because, again, they're living high on the hog, not having to worry about what they did to all the people in Fortune High Tech Marketing, and it's really sad. So thank you, and I hope like hell that no one has to go through what we've had to go through.